We're an island nation, drawn to the sea that surrounds us. A playground for some. For others, it's where they make their living. But the sea's unpredictable.
It's like a wild animal. You can't tame it.
There to save our lives is a volunteer army of over 5,000 ordinary people, ready to leave their jobs, their families, and race to our rescue.
When the pages go off, we have to prepare for absolutely anything.
No, no, no!
You do go out fearing the worst.
Once I could see the orange, I knew we were okay.
We're with you, we're with you!
Equipped with their own cameras.
Good afternoon. Stay where you are, yeah? We're going to come to you!
The crews give us a unique insight into every call-out.
I thought I was going to die!
As only they see it.
I've got you, I've got you.
For those who risk their lives, it has become a way of life.
Saving someone's life is phenomenal.
Let's let go!
There is nothing more rewarding.
Hold on!
Nestled on the very far northern tip of Scotland is the small harbour town of Thurso.
Thurso's quite a nice, quiet place. It's right on the top of the north coast. We're just 20 miles from John O'Groats.
The town faces onto the Pentland Firth, a narrow strait separating the mainland from the Orkney Islands.
It's very notorious now because it's a channel. It's the Atlantic going into the North Sea, and it funnels in and it creates a big tide. And when you get certain hertz of wind, waves can become very large.
Thurso is home to mainland Scotland's most northerly lifeboat station. The crews here have a 7 class, the largest boat in the RNLI fleet. And this is one of the stations which can regularly test the vessel's range.
It's a huge patch, 50 to 60 miles to the west and 25 to the east, and we can go 100 miles to the north, to the northwest. It's a huge area.
In their 160-year history, Thurso's crews have rescued nearly 700 people from the treacherous waters off their coast.
Conditions can change very quickly. It's very stormy and windy, wet, big seas, quite treacherous.
It can be very rough on a winter's day, yet you'll hear the stones rumbling off the beaches.
The vast area of water covered by the Thurso lifeboat means that crews are often out at sea for 12 hours or longer, something that they and their families must be prepared for.
Partners and wives, it probably is tough, but we don't think about it when we get called out. But when we're out for a long time and they're not hearing from us, I dare say it is tough on them, yeah.
My family's all pretty used to it now, you know, because they've all grown up with it. I'm 32 years on a boat, so they know exactly what it means to me, and they've accepted that that's a sacrifice that I make.
December. Mid-morning on a cold, breezy day. The local Coast Guard receive an emergency call.
When the pager went off, as usual, I run out the house, jump in the car and head straight towards the harbour.
An ocean-going rower has failed to return from a training trip offshore.
I was very surprised to hear that there was a rower that far out, because normally they just come down along the shore.
The rower headed out to sea 4 days ago. When his family last heard from him, he was nearly 40 miles northwest of Thurso.
We had a rough idea of where he was, yeah. Yeah, he was well off land. It was about 2 hours to get to the casualty. Yeah, you're hoping that he's still going to be okay when you do get there. So, yeah, we had a bit to go to get to him.
Thurso's 7 class launches immediately.
For a rower to be that far offshore, obviously you're hoping for his safety and how long he's been there and his condition of his health.
The lifeboat crew have been informed that the casualty only has a satellite phone and no VHF radio, so communication is patchy at best. All they can do for now is to head to his last known location and hope that they can find his 24-foot-long boat in the swells.
To try and spot a rowing boat in the middle of the ocean, it's quite difficult.
To make the crew's task even more complicated, there's a storm forecast, bringing winds of over 50 miles an hour and large waves. On their way out, they receive a radio update from the Coast Guard.
As we proceeded to go to the casualty, we learned that there was a fishing vessel beside them. So we managed to go straight to a location of the scene.
After nearly 2 hours of battling through large seas, the 7 class arrives on scene, 40 miles out in the North Atlantic.
We seen the large fishing vessel, but we couldn't locate the rowing boat.
And it soon becomes clear why the rower is so hard to spot.
He was coloured battleship grey, so there was no way that we could spot him.
In the swell and that, he was camouflaged, he was grey in colour, and he had no identification lights on him at all.
Finally, the crew sight the small craft in amongst the waves.
I was very surprised with the size of the rowing boat and for him to be in 44 miles off the coast. In my time on a lifeboat, I've never seen a rowing boat so far offshore. We did try and communicate with him, but we knew from the Coast Guard and from his son there was no VHF radio on board. So we had to get quite close and speak to the casualty then.
Are you injured at all? You're physically okay? Yeah.
He seemed in good spirits and in good health, yeah, for the amount of time he'd been at sea.
I don't know what our coxswain's intentions yet is. He might want to take you off that, I don't know. It's up to him.
The strong winds are making it hard to communicate with the casualty. But Cox and Doogie can't bring the 60-foot-long, 40-ton 7 class in too close to him.
I was up top on the flying bridge. I can see a lot more up top, and I was trying to keep away from the rowing boat so that we wouldn't damage him.
Once we established he was in good health and that, we decided we're going to try and tow him.
You ready, boy? Is he ready, aye?
We passed him a heaving line and we tied him off then, and we started to tow him slow because he was such a small vessel.
But as we were towing, his boat started to, like a submarine effect, it started to get submerged a bit.
So it didn't seem very safe to carry that procedure on.
We're going to have to take him off. Aye, we've got to get him off, aye.
The worst thing that could happen is his boat could actually break up and he could actually be left to sea.
With a 7-hour journey ahead, the crew feel it's now too dangerous for the casualty to remain in his boat.
This is not a good situation. We've got to get this casualty off his boat.
Doogie instructs the crew to launch the 7 class's inflatable Y-boat.
I decided to put James and Kevin because they were the most experienced. They had done the Y-boat a few hairy times.
Hold on! Get her up a bit, Gord!
The plan is to bring the Y-boat alongside the rowing boat so they can get the casualty aboard. And then transfer him to the 7 class.
Our main concern with the Y-boat is when you go over crests or waves, the wind can get underneath it and flip it very easily. So you really got to try and keep the weight down in the bow.
James and Kevin make it safely to the rowing boat. But unable to communicate with the casualty by radio, they struggle to alert him of their presence.
Hey! Hello! Hey! Put a life jacket on, we're taking you off, yeah?
I was surprised he didn't have a life jacket on. I'm not sure what equipment he had inside his watertight compartment.
You're coming off, first life jacket on, yeah? We're going to take you off, yeah?
With the swells now worsening, James and Kevin know they only have one chance to get the casualty aboard their small inflatable.
The transfer for the Y-boat, like obviously the Y-boat was in quite big sea conditions. You're working with the sea rather than against it because the sea will flip us anyway, like any time at once. So you're trying to work it as best as you can.
Right, come on, I want you to jump over, yeah? When we come up time, I want you to come over, yeah? As quick as you can. Hold on. Go, jump! Good.
Having got the rower safely on board, James and Kevin leave his boat attached to the tow line and rush back to the 7 class.
The casualty seemed to be fine. Everything seemed okay with him, yeah.
Once the casualty was in our boat, I thought, yeah, the hardest part was done.
But as they approach the much larger vessel, the conditions take a turn for the worse.
The swell and the wind seemed to have picked up when we were on our way back to land the casualty. We looked round and there was a bigger, as we call it, a rogue wave, seemed to have turned up. It took hold of us and pushed it up against the side of the ELB.
I never seen the wave coming. I felt the large wave lift us up. As soon as I landed in the sea, it was all dark. I knew I was underneath the water.
Then I was overboard, but I couldn't release my leg. My left leg was trapped on the Y-boat.
As I surfaced, I noticed the Y-boat then was out of control, going round in circles. I pushed myself physically away from the Y-boat because the engine was flat out.
Although Kevin and James have been thrown into the water, the casualty has somehow remained on board. But the outboard motor is still in gear, so the Y-boat is spinning wildly in the water.
It could cut into me, it could strike my face. It's like a blade basically spinning.
We don't train to get trapped and get dragged behind it. No, there is no training for that.
Manning the 7 class from up on the top deck, Doogie is powerless to help.
I was feeling, well, what we're going to do now.
After several minutes in the icy water, James manages to clamber back into the Y-boat and bring it back under control.
I got back on board. Main concern was to get my crewman out of the water then.
I felt very relieved once the two of them got back on the boat, yeah, very relieved.
Once I was back in the Y-boat, I knew we had to do it again. We had to come alongside the big boat again.
I'm straight on board first.
Taking the Y-boat around to the more sheltered side of the 7 class, James and Kevin prepare for a second attempt at a transfer.
When two boats come together, there's no time to dwell on anything. You've just got to get your job done. And the minute you start to hesitate when you're doing a transfer, that's when people get hurt.
Right, go, 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 go! Go, go! Round your left.
It was very quick. Yeah, it had to be very quick.
Safely on deck, the crew haul in the Y-boat and turn their attention to warming up the rower.
The casualty was in very good condition, considering he was only supposed to be rowing 2 miles from the shore, but somehow he landed 40 miles off.
If I'm going to do something in life, I think to myself, OK, is what I'm about to do worth the worst-case scenario? And generally, it always is.
58-year-old Lawrence left Thurso 4 days ago to sea test his homemade transatlantic rowing boat.
The idea was to row from Scotland up to Iceland and back again. This trip was just to test everything out, make sure the boat was OK, make sure I was OK with the boat in the waters where I was going to be starting off from.
Iceland is nearly 600 miles northwest of Scotland, across some of the wildest and most dangerous seas in the Northern Hemisphere.
I have to admit I'm an adventurer. The more extreme, the better. Anything that's cold, wet and uncomfortable, I seem to be drawn to. Which is why being here in the storms in the sea is, I feel really quite comfortable there. It's second home to me.
When Lawrence launched from Durness, 40 miles west of Thurso, the weather was ideal for his sea trial.
Everything was fine. Go out. The boat was handling perfectly. The next day, it's starting to get a little bit choppy in the water. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit. On the 4th day, there's a force 10 storm coming in. The waves and the storm had really kind of picked up quite a bit. So if I drift towards the Orkneys, the chances are I'm going to probably hit this in darkness as well. So I would have been smashed to pieces on the rocks. Do I really want to ask people to come out at night in a Force 10 to save my arse when I could call them out now? So it wasn't really a hard decision to make. The decision was really made for me.
This is just a heaving line. Fellas!
I was a little bit worried that they would save me and not save the boat. You know, having spent 15 months with my son building it, I didn't really want it to be left in the sea to get smashed up. So leave me in the boat, I'm fine, just tow me back. But within like a couple of minutes, obviously the coxswain's decided that he's not happy, so they obviously made the decision to bring me on board the lifeboat.
Jump!
And right at the moment we get to the lifeboat, a wave has picked the inflatable up, and now the two have met. And inflatable has gone sideways. I've reacted and held on, and the two boys that were with me got tipped in. And now it's my job to help them back onto the boat. They just got straight on with the job of concentrating on getting me across to the lifeboat.
Hey, go!
Once safely back aboard the 7 class, Lawrence and the crew settled in for a long journey back to shore, towing his vessel through heavy seas. Just after 8 o'clock at night, a full 10 hours after heading out to sea, the Thurso crew returned to harbour and delivered Lawrence back to his family.
My family was waiting there. We're not going to greet each other over emotionally. It's like, you know, oh yeah, you know, good adventure.
He had told me he had made a boat himself. He had gotten a grey paint cheap, and he had painted it grey, so I tried to encourage him to maybe paint it orange, yellow.
Never judge when you're going to rescue somebody. You know, it's maybe just a wee mistake, or, you know, things do happen at sea, so no, you never judge them, no.
They were such a nice bunch of blokes. They really were, and it kind of makes you really proud that there are people like that that will go out no matter what the circumstances, no matter what the weather, and they've got your personal safety and well-being at the top of their priority. What people, wonderful.
It was a long day, 88 miles round trip.
I got in my car, went home, and went to my bed. I was knackered.
Although not all shouts are as arduous as Thurso's, every lifeboat volunteer must be prepared to leave their families at short notice, 24 hours a day.
It's such a commitment being on the boat, and you have to sacrifice some things sometimes.
When you join the crew, there are personal sacrifices you have to make, and that can be family time.
One of our senior helmsmen, Dave, was getting married.
We kind of thought it'll never go off. The chances of it going off then are slim. And then the pages went off, so we thought, you've got to be joking.
Being part of the crew, everyone thinks I volunteer, and that's not the case. The whole household volunteers. When my pager goes off, it affects my fiancé. He'll wake up and he'll start throwing clothes at me. It genuinely does affect the entire household.
When the pager goes, you leave the birthday. Anniversaries, you leave the anniversary.
Families of lifeboat crews are definitely the unsung heroes out there.
Who's going to be in charge? Who's the helmsman? Me! Right, Jude's the helmsman.
It is a big commitment to be a crewman, but I don't see it as a sacrifice. I see it as a positive thing.
Okay, ready, brace, move.
It does weigh heavy on you, but those times where you actually save a life really lifts the spirits of the station.
On the coast of Kent, the small hamlet of Dungeness is just 26 miles from France.
Dungeness is unique because it's sticking out in a channel about 10 miles. It's quite close to France, so you can see France on a clear day.
Dungeness lies on a constantly shifting headland, which creates unpredictable conditions.
The area that we go to sea in, very changeable. We've got the Dungeness Point, The sea can roll in there and come in from the southwest, and it can be quite aggressive at times.
It can be quite nasty and off of Dungeness Point. The amount of tide that flows, because all the channel comes down, it's like a funnel, pinching in one spot, so it speeds it up.
The end of July, a heat wave has been making headlines across the UK.
That particular day, being the hottest day of the year, the beach was busy. There was lots of people, there's lots of boats, lots of people swimming and walking around on the beach, just trying to enjoy the cool sea air.
At nearly 7:30 at night, the temperature is still around 30 degrees. But then, suddenly, the heat wave lifts and the conditions change.
A strange phenomenon that evening. The weather took a serious dive and the wind picked up.
It came out of nowhere and it went up to about 20, 25 knots.
And it caught a lot of people out along the coastline.
Within minutes of the wind picking up, the Coast Guard receives multiple 999 calls from Dungeness Beach.
The pager went off. We was actually at the station and we was involved with training that evening, so we couldn't have been any closer if we tried.
A young boy is being blown out to sea in a small inflatable dinghy.
It was an immediate call, and that meant really that there was grave and imminent danger to someone at sea.
As soon as the information came in that it was a small child, straight away you relate it to your own children. I've got my own children, and you relate it to that. So we just want to get there quick.
You have to launch straight away. The first 6 people in will be on that boat and out the doors.
The station's Shannon class is rushed down to the shoreline.
From alert to in the water was about 9 minutes.
Your main concern is, will they stay calm, will they stay seated, and will they just please not enter the water?
He probably couldn't swim strongly. He probably wasn't wearing a life jacket. So we knew that it was a definite life or death risk.
The tide is now rushing out. And to make matters worse, the boy has been blown off the beach at the very end of the headland, where the winds are at their strongest.
We're right on the peninsula of the point, and the wind then swirls round, and that will actually take any small craft out to sea very quickly.
In a little inflatable, it could easily topple them over and tip them out the boat.
The only information the crew have for now is that a yacht has sighted what could be the inflatable dinghy almost a mile out to sea. 10 minutes after launching, the Dungeness crew arrive at that stretch of water.
We've got to the location. We can see absolutely no one in sight. No one in sight.
They've gone quite a way off, haven't they, in a short time?
It felt absolutely hopeless. You look out to sea and you think, where are you? I feared that he wouldn't be in a boat anymore and that he'd be in the sea. I was worried that he could die.
If it's an adult, they're a bit bigger. They can put up with a bit colder weather for a bit longer. If it's a small child, they haven't got much fat on them and they run out of energy a lot quicker. Suddenly you're thinking, oh, this could be a bad ending.
After 5 minutes frantically searching these seas, the lifeboat receives another update from the Coast Guard.
At that point, we've been asked to go further out to sea.
We were just getting more and more concerned. The sea state wasn't great for a small dinghy. It was getting tense. We knew it was urgent.
The crew rushed to the new location, nearly 2 miles offshore.
We knew it was time critical because every few minutes he was getting further out.
We're still looking with nothing. It is a dark feeling, and you're aware that this could go either way.
But this far out, their search is all the more challenging, as the seas are now being whipped up by the strong winds.
Searching for a small target like that is difficult, and there was a bit of swell there. As you sweep when you're searching and they go down on the wave, you don't see them, and then you've gone past that area, so you're always sort of double checking as much as you can to allow enough time for them to come up.
We don't give up. We keep going, we keep going. We never actually stop until we're stood down.
Finally, after a further 10 minutes of scanning the seas, there's a glimpse of something in the water.
When you first spot them and you're thinking, am I seeing things? is this just a net float? But as we was getting closer, I could see that it was the dinghy. You're just praying that they're still in the boat.
It looks like a little child, doesn't it?
When we got closer to see him still in the little dinghy, he looked tiny in this vast sea, and the relief to see he was still in that boat, we just couldn't believe it.
If I could get onto that hand of this just to steady it, would you be happy with that? Or if you can, well, I'm just going to grab him and pass him up to you. You all right, mate? Well done for staying there.
We've got the size of the Shannon coming alongside what is arguably one of the smallest of crafts that we would need to deal with.
Just running along the side, Stu. Keep going like you are. Just keep going ahead.
So it was a careful approach to ensure that we didn't actually come up alongside and knock that vessel against him too hard.
It's okay, mate. You're going to blow towards us now. If you walk forward, you'll grab hold of the bow of him.
When we first went alongside him, we slowed up and you could see that he was scared. You could see he was scared.
You okay? Well done, mate. Come and hold on to me.
While the boy appears to be unharmed, the air temperature has begun to plummet, and the strong winds are making it feel even colder.
If you walk in there, well done.
The crew must get the boy warmed up as quickly as they can.
When I grabbed hold of him, you could feel he was cold. Shock can set in, hypothermia, even though it was the warmest day of the year, but when you're wet, and it was sort of 7:30 in the evening, so it was cooling down.
You all right, Tommy? Well done. You've done really well there.
Down back the station. Amazing. Well done.
Always stay with the boat. Well done. Good boy.
Oh, you're freezing cold.
Should we get another blanket around your legs?
He was shivering. He was a tiny little thing. He was so cold. He was just shivering. You could see goosebumps all over him.
That's it. Hold my hand and it'll warm you up a bit.
I think he felt safe when he was on the lifeboat. We wrapped him up in blankets, warmed up, and I just held his hand just to sort of reassure him that he's okay, he's safe now.
It was cold out there.
It was, yeah, and the wind was cold. The important thing is to always stay with the boat, and that's what you've done, so that's a really important thing.
At first, when I saw how calm this young lad was, the question you first ask yourself is, was he suffering with shock?
Just have a little drink, just take a few breaths, yeah? Well done.
So one of the things that we always do with children when we bring them on board is ensure that if they're a little bit dehydrated, they've had a bit of an ordeal, maybe suffering with slight shock, then a nice sugary drink, maybe some chocolate, just to make them feel at ease.
So how old are you, Tommy?
11.
Tommy had been playing in his inflatable dinghy just off the beach when the winds suddenly picked up.
Were you enjoying the day at the beach?
Yep.
You were.
First, every time I've been rescued by him.
Is it?
First and last.
Having tried to swim out to rescue Tommy themselves, his family then called 999.
The only place he was going to go was up to sort of the North Sea. There was nothing in between. So that's the worst scenario.
Right, I'm going to strap you in, OK, because we're going back onto the beach now.
Within an hour of the pager's sounding, the Dungeness crew bring Tommy back to the safety of land. And as an added bonus, he gets to experience the lifeboat being brought ashore.
We're just starting to go fast now. This is the best bit when we go ashore. We're going to go up the beach now, ready? There you go. Wow. That's cool, isn't it? Well done.
Aware that Tommy's family are anxiously waiting for him at the lifeboat station,
Okay.
the crew prepare to bring him off the lifeboat.
So Stuart gave him the VIP treatment, gave him his jacket.
Go on then.
Your arms in there, mate.
I thought he looked really smart in it, to be honest. I think we've definitely got a potential new crew member there.
We're signing you up soon. You've had a trip on the lifeboat and you're wearing all the gear.
Seeing little Tommy in his jacket, we're going to sign him up next week. Well, maybe when he's a bit older.
This shout will stick in my memory for sure, because I've got children myself and you relate to them and how upset I'd be under those circumstances.
Okay.
I'm already on the shore.
You're already on the shore.
That was a good result and you remember the good ones.
This is Tom.
Tom, how are we doing?
I was just so proud of all of us, of what we did on that day, and that we got him back safely to his family.
When you get a rescue like this is why you join. You join to save lives, and to save a child's life, you know, that's the icing on the cake.
– 40 miles southwest of Dungeness, in Sussex, is the port town of Newhaven.
Newhaven on a good day is lovely, with views all across the downs, across to the east. When the sun's shining, it's a lovely place to be.
There's been a lifeboat here for nearly 220 years. The station currently has an all-weather 7 class. And with this, they cover almost 20 miles of the local coast, from Beachy Head to Brighton.
There's a whole range of jobs we get, from people on the beaches in the summer being swept off, people cut off by the tide, down by the cliffs, people getting too close to the top of the cliffs, dog walkers, dogs going off the cliffs sometimes. So you never know what the job's going to be.
Newhaven Lifeboat Station has a wide range of volunteers.
Sit down.
Including a 4-legged one, Oscar.
Newhaven now has a station dog. It didn't have until I started. I'm lucky enough that Oscar comes to work with me every day, so he's always there and keeps a close eye on what we're doing.
I don't know whether it's a lifeboat thing, but there's more than a fair share of the crew at that station have got dogs.
He's there when we set off, and he welcomes us back with a lick when we come back from a job. It's just a nice way to chill out and relax, and takes a bit of the stress out of the situation.
A cold, breezy day in January.
I was at home, working at home, doing my accounts, which is not my favourite activity in the world. And the pager went off, and I've got to say, it was a bit of a relief.
When that pager went off, I was having a Teams chat with one of my colleagues. It was one of those just to quit out the door.
A dog walker has called 999 from the cliffs at Seaford, 2 miles east of the station.
We were informed that a dog had gone over the cliff.
We'd heard that the dog had gone 100, 150 feet off the top of the cliffs, so we were fearing the worst at that point.
The tide is coming in, and nearly at its highest point. So even if the dog has survived the fall, it could well be swept away. Within 15 minutes, Newhaven are taking their 7 class out to sea.
I've been to quite a few dogs over the cliffs before, and a few of those haven't made it, sadly, which is always awful when you've got to hand the dog back to the owner.
We had absolutely no information on the condition of the dog. It was really a get on scene and see how things were situation.
Earlier that day, local resident Joe had come to the cliffs at Seaford with friends, bringing her sister's border collie, Max.
We'd only just left the car park going up to the cliffs, and then suddenly Max wasn't there, and my heart just left my soul. At that point, I didn't know how I was going to tell my sister, and I sent her a message on WhatsApp.
When I read that text message, I actually fell to the floor and just burst into tears. I didn't think I was going to have a dog. I didn't think he would make it.
As the lifeboat crew rush to location, they receive a radio call from the Coast Guard with some surprising news.
So on the way to the cliffs, we heard that the dog was moving, that it had been seen.
When we spotted Max swimming, I think I was just screaming, "He's alive, he's swimming." How he was still alive, I could not believe it.
Somehow, Max has survived falling around 100 feet. But if he's injured or goes into shock, he'll soon be in real danger on the rapidly diminishing strip of beach.
Joe texted me saying he was swimming in the sea. I can't even describe the emotion. I was like a broken mess. Because, well, that boy means the world to me.
25 minutes after the pagers went off, the 7 class arrives on scene. But with a chalk reef close to shore, the only way of getting a crew in is on the 7's small inflatable Y-boat.
James was selected for the Y-boat, given his ability, his experience. I know he's got a dog. He was going to be the best Y-boat operator we had.
All right, let's go!
Although James has helmed the Y-boat many times before, his crewmate Dan is less experienced.
All right.
This was my first time on a shout in the Y-boat. so there was a lot going on.
It's fairly choppy. So what we'll do, and we'll nosy in, you just keep an eye out for any rocks here, and we'll just run it up the beach, okay?
He was a little bit wide-eyed at times. I think it was quite an experience for him.
And once we've done it up the beach, if you jump out and just take the bow line.
Being at the top of the cliff and then seeing Max at the bottom of the cliff, I felt really, really helpless.
With the incoming tide behind them, James and Dan are soon approaching the base of the cliffs.
As we started to head in, we could see Max running around at the bottom of the cliffs, so we knew that he wasn't in too bad a condition.
All right, I'll just run it up here.
But as the Y-boat hits the shore, Max hides in a small cove at the far right-hand side of the beach.
When we got to the beach, the initial sort of reaction of the dog was he was clearly scared.
James feels it's risky for just 2 crew members to launch the small inflatable into this surf with an anxious dog on board.
I think we might need an extra person. The waves are breaking a little bit, and I think we're going to need 2 to relaunch the Y-boat and 1 to hold the dog over.
Yeah, we'll get John pitted up. So if you want to come back, pick him up, you can have an extra pair of hands.
As James and Dan prepare to leave the beach, Max briefly emerges from his hiding place.
Hang on, he's coming to us. Max, come here. Okay, scratch that. Hey, mate, you jump in.
With no time to waste, James and Dan return to the 7 class to pick up a 3rd crewmate, while Joe watches on nervously.
When the lifeboat went back, the tide was coming in really fast, which was a major worry because I could see the section of beach that he was on getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
As soon as the additional crew member is aboard, James brings the Y-boat straight back to shore.
You can then make your assessment. If you're happy,
I'll jump off and try and grab him.
But unbeknown to them, adding a 3rd male crew member may have complicated this recovery even more.
When the lifeboat went back for the 2nd time, I was a bit worried because I saw that it was a team of men. So I was really worried that he wasn't going to get on the boat. And I was thinking, if he doesn't get on the boat, or if he bites one of them, what is the next step?
Keep going, keep going.
So I started calling Max, and he came over to say hello.
Hello, buddy. Hello. Max, Max.
He looked quite nervous and he was looking around quite a bit, as you'd expect. You know, he's just had a terrible experience.
Main concern is that the dog might bite. Even a really friendly dog, when it's in that kind of really stressful situation, can obviously be a bit of a danger.
But James has a secret life-saving aid with him.
Hey, what are these, mate?
RNLI issue biscuits.
So just as we were getting in the Y-boat, I was handed 3 biscuits to take with me.
Hey, it's all right. Hello, buddy.
So I let him come up to me, got the biscuits out, and that convinced him to come over and have a sniff.
Oh, Max. Max. What's that?
Anyone that's met JJ, I'm sure, I think he could win over anyone's trust.
Bit of a tumble. Little bit of a tumble.
I was able to check him over, make sure that he was okay. Nothing seemed to be broken. He seemed to be in remarkably good condition. I wasn't sure if it was the adrenaline coursing through him, and actually he was a bit injured. But yeah, no, we were amazed. He seemed to be absolutely fine. He's obviously a bit of a super dog.
You gonna come with us? It's all right, buddy.
Max was a fairly large dog, so he needed a bit of holding and controlling. He wasn't particularly happy to be held and be carried out to the Y-boat. So yeah, it was a bit of a juggling act, trying to hold him. I'm not as young as I once was.
As the crew prepare to battle out through the surf, one of Joe's friends captures the moment on their mobile phone.
Okay, buddy. You might get a little bit wet, Max.
They got Max on the boat. I saw them hugging Max, and he was on the boat, and I cried. Oh, I cried so much because I was just so happy.
But the lifeboat crew can't afford to relax just yet. They must now get Max to a neighbouring beach where Joe is waiting. And to do that, they must take him out through increasingly large swells.
Big wave. Breaker, boys, breaker.
breaking waves meant that Max was getting a bit wet, and he wasn't particularly happy about that, and started getting quite wriggly in my arms.
Hey, Max, 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 Max. Whoa, 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 whoa. Max, it's all right. It's all right, puppy. It's all right. All right, all right, all right.
I was worried that we were going to lose him again. He was going to go over the side.
Max, it's okay. Max, slower, mate. Slower. He's freaking out in the waves.
So I was talking away to Max the whole time, which probably sounds a little bit silly.
Hey, buddy. A little bit crazy, this, isn't it?
My thinking was that the more relaxed he is, the more comfortable he feels, the safer it is for him and for us as well.
All the other dogs are going to be jealous of this. Little ride.
50 minutes after launching, the crew head to shore to reunite Max with Joe.
Max didn't even wait for the boat to get into shore.
Boy.
He ran off the boat. I've never felt such relief in my whole life. And at that point, I called my sister.
Joe also sent me a picture when he was back at shore, like walking around and everything as well, just to clear my mind that he was all okay and everything. Again, I burst into tears, but happy tears this time.
It felt amazing to be able to give good news to my sister, because I knew it could have gone dramatically the other way.
With Max now safely back with Joe, the crew head out to the 7 class again, just offshore.
Lifeboat Yankee 188, we're just returning to the boat, over.
To see Max safely ashore was a great result. And yeah, it makes it all worthwhile, really. It gives the whole station a lift.
There's no words to even thank them. Like, they brought my boy home, and yeah, I just can't thank them enough.
So Oscar was wagging his tail, waiting to see us when we got back, as he always is.
I think everyone might have been extra nice to Oscar that day. Yeah, it was good.
But sadly for me, I was back to the accounts after that. So you go from a real high, and then reality kicks back in.
Back in Dungeness, the lifeboat station is perched on one of the narrowest points of the English Channel. So the crews are often called to the aid of people making a perilous journey from France.
The type of shouts that we typically get at the moment will be small boats crossing the channel. There's a lot of public opinion about, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. We just focus on the fact that at the end of the day, we are saving lives at sea.
On one weekend this year, over 2,000 casualties were brought ashore from small boats off this stretch of coast. Many of them women and children.
You never know how many people are going to be on them and how many you're going to get. The boats that are coming across now are really badly built. It just emphasises that they need assistance, because their boats are literally falling apart.
The size and condition of the boats attempting these crossings isn't the only concern. One of the biggest dangers is the sheer volume of traffic in these waters.
We have the busiest shipping lanes in the world. It is like the marine equivalent of the M25 when you're crossing that channel.
At any given time of day or night, there can be hundreds of large commercial vessels navigating these shipping lanes.
The channel is very, very dangerous. Small boats can't be seen by such huge boats.
I've been in that position. You know, I used to be a fisherman. We've had ships bearing down on us. You can hear their bow wave. You know, suddenly you see this humongous block of flats coming towards you. Some of them take like a mile just to stop. So it's reliant on the small boats to move out of their way. Otherwise they will get run down.
Mid-October. The middle of a cold, calm, moonless night.
When the pager went off, I was fast asleep in bed. I usually leave my clothes ready to go. I'm that sad.
When the pager goes, you jump out of your bed and you get your clothes on and you go over to the station to see if you're picked to go on the boat. At that time in the morning, you're thinking, is this a boat on fire? Is it sinking? Is there someone injured? You just don't know what it's going to be.
So when the pager went, it come up as immediate. So that's telling us that it's life critical and that we need to get going fast as we can.
The Coast Guard has received a 999 call from a mobile phone somewhere out in the English Channel.
Initial information that we were given was that there were 3 people in a kayak that hadn't been seen since the day before. They must have been so desperate to get on a kayak and try and get across the channel in October.
When you hear there's 3 people in a small boat, straight away you're thinking, well, they're going to be hard to find. Big ships, that's great, that's easy, or a fishing boat that you can call up and speak to on a radio. This is like a needle in a haystack.
Within 20 minutes, Dungeness launched their Shannon-class all-weather lifeboat.
The search sort of instructions was about sort of 8 or 9 miles southeast of Dungeness, between a couple of sandbanks that myself and most of the crew on the boat used to fish in those areas, so we knew the areas quite well, which meant they'd already come across one shipping lane, but we had to go past another shipping lane to find them.
To navigate through the shipping lanes on something as small as a kayak would be luck more than judgment. They probably had, by that stage, lost all realms of where they're going, where they are.
It's like running a gauntlet to get across there without capsizing, without getting run down, without getting lost, without getting hypothermia.
15 minutes after launching, the crew arrive at the position where the casualty's mobile phone signal was last traced.
That particular night, it was really, really dark. There was no moon, there was low cloud cover.
It was so dark. How are we going to find a kayak with 3 guys? You couldn't see anything.
So small, you'd have a job to see it. Seen a few seagulls, I think they are, in all honesty.
If it's the same 3 people reported leaving France in an inflatable kayak yesterday, they will have been at sea in near freezing conditions for almost 18 hours. The lifeboat crew must conduct a slow and methodical search.
In those scenarios, when you're looking for an inflatable kayak, you can't go rushing and tearing around. We just gently went in that direction, searching with the lights just to check, because worst thing, we don't want to run them over. We're using the searchlights, and it is frustrating because you can only see as far as the searchlight goes. It was a hard search, and I thought this isn't going to end very well.
With the lifeboat's powerful searchlights not revealing anything in these waters, the crew must now illuminate a larger area.
3, 2, 1.
We use flares to light up the area. They go miles rather than our searchlights, so it's to hope to find an outline of something that we can actually head for.
Although they only light up the surrounding seas for a short period, the hope is that the flares will be spotted by the casualties.
Suddenly you think, hang on, someone's putting flares up, they're trying to search for us, they come to rescue us. That gives them that will to paddle a bit harder or to try and make their way towards us.
We've got to check everything out. That's what they'll be doing. They'll be sticking their phone up for light.
But even the flares fail to reveal any sign of the casualties.
When you've got to the initial coordinates and they're not there, then you start thinking, okay, this could be a long one. We could be searching for a long while. I think we had about 4 or 5 hours before daylight was gonna come up. Obviously that would help us when it gets daylight, but 4 or 5 hours in the cold, choppy sea could be too late.
We still hadn't found them, so it just felt like a hopeless search. My worry would have been whether they had overturned more than anything. They would have had limited space, so your legs would go to sleep. You might try and stretch your leg, you might go overboard. You might take everyone with you.
The crew have now been searching in near total darkness for almost 45 minutes.
I think as time goes by and you're starting to get cold yourself, and we're sat on a warm lifeboat with good waterproof protection, you start thinking, well, if my hand's getting cold now holding a searchlight, think of those poor people that are in a boat wet and cold, so time is of the essence.
Undeterred, they continue to scour the seas for any sign of life.
We were all on deck, still looking, and I'm on port side, and I see a very, very tiny light. And I think, are my eyes deceiving me? Did I actually see something? And I actually was scared to say anything. But Stuart, our coxswain, has always said, if you see something, say something.
When Caroline sort of spoke to me, she said she thought she saw something, and I said, right, that's a hope. Let's go and check it out.
So we alter course, are still approaching with caution because we know this vessel's in that area somewhere. There's no point going full speed because you'll end up running them over or swamping them yourself.
We headed quite a long way.
Is that about right, Caroline, do you think? Yes, Stu. Stu, what about? Yeah, that's them.
I thought it was then.
No, well done, Caroline. Just here, boys, see them.
The moment that we actually saw them and we could see the silhouette of the casualties, it was great, brilliant. We've got them.
You're probably going to have to grab them in, guys.
I was just so happy. So happy we found them and they were still on board.
If you reach out, grab their hands.
The 3 casualties are adrift with no power in an inflatable kayak designed for 2 people.
I could see 3 silhouettes of three people sat in a boat, all sort of huddled up together. They had like 1 oar between them. They was in a bit of a sorry situation.
That's it. We got you. Well done. Climb through the rail. All right. You're that lucky.
They were in so much shock. Didn't say a word, not a word. Hypothermia probably was setting in for them. I think they'd given up, to be quite honest. So that scared us, really.
That's it. That's all 3 of them, Stu.
The vessel that they'd come across in was the sort of thing you'd take on a lake inland. It's got no engine. I don't think it's designed for 3 people. It was very small. I wouldn't have put my kids in it, to be honest, let alone trying to cross the busiest shipping lane in the world. When we was sort of recovering them onto the lifeboat, they were very distant and you could see the shock and all their systems had started to slow down just with fatigue, really, and coldness.
You okay? You okay? We'll get you some more blankets.
The crew are told that the 3 men are from Sudan, in North Africa. They'd set off from France the previous morning.
It's quite sad to see that scenario. I mean, they're 3 quite young, healthy guys, and I think they're just so relieved to be rescued, and they just huddled up, and we checked them out to see if they were okay. We wrapped them up to try and get them a bit warmer, and we're headed into port as quick as we can to get them safe.
Cold? You okay?
With the crew's job done, the lifeboat makes the 10-mile journey to Dover, so the casualties can be handed over to border control.
As a lifeboat crew, we're compassionate to everyone, and it's so important to them to reassure them that actually people do care. And on this particular occasion, they were very lucky that Caroline happened to just look then. We could have easily just carried on searching and missed them. It's a good result.
When I go out for a rescue, it doesn't matter who they are or where they come from. We are going to rescue them. They're at sea, they need help, and we're there to help them.
It makes me sort of feel humbled, the fact that I've got a nice family, a nice community around me, and they must be very desperate to willing to risk their life to make that crossing. If they're in danger and we can help them, then we will.
Nearly 8 months after being rescued off Thurso, Lawrence made another attempt to cross from Scotland to Iceland in his homemade rowing boat. This time with his son, Lloyd.
Definitely seen better days.
But after battling strong tides and unseasonably rough conditions, they were forced to turn back after nearly 200 miles of hard rowing.
Our first attempt, we were caught short. After a few weeks, we were losing the time window to be able to get to Iceland.
Everything was made extremely difficult for us to make the journey, because it's not an easy task rowing across.
And so really had to call it off eventually.
The biggest concern was losing the boat, to be honest with you. We just spent 15 months building it, like blood, sweat and tears went into this.
Don't worry about losing your dad, just the boat.
Well, no, I don't fear for his safety. He'll figure it out, he'll survive.
Yeah, we've discovered there's a couple of more modifications that could go into the boat to make life a little bit easier.
Yeah, like a rudder.
Although they haven't yet got a full steering system, and the boat is still battleship grey, Lawrence has taken on board some of the Thurso crew's safety notes.
For all the backups are there. You know, we have the GPS for navigation.
My girlfriend's got a tracker, she can track my location, give her ease of mind of where we are, I suppose.
I'll definitely get to Iceland in the rowing boat. We'll quite possibly need rescuing one day because, you know, the sea always has the last laugh.
And in Sussex, Max the dog is still being taken out for walks on the cliffs. But Joe is now a little more cautious.
When we went back along the coast, I said to Max, "You're staying on the lead, you're not flying today."
I did not think he would get away like unscathed or anything. I definitely thought there would have been some sort of injury or something.
Yeah, I think to not have a single cut or scrape or anything, I still don't know how it's possible.
It's just a miracle.
I think he saw the water, and I think in his mind he was jumping into the sea, but didn't realise there was a big drop to get to the sea. I've got lots of future plans with Max. There'll be lots more hikes, lots more adventures.
But I won't be joining her on any hikes anytime soon.
Oh, I hope he never needs rescuing again. I think it might be the end of me.
I'd love to say he's learnt his lesson, but that dog is just full of surprises.
First thing I heard was 16 casualties.
I decided to send up the drone to see if I can find them.
When do you expect to come over?
They were literally saying, "Where is the lifeboat? We're behind you."
I can't really use my arms.
And immediately my mind went to, is this a stroke?
Could you request an ambulance, please?